All right. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show, and big ups to you, the official supporters of the show. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're not a sub up on our push to get 15,000. We're very close, and I respect and thank everybody for all your support over these many moons. Big ups to the fam. Appreciate you. And this one, fam, we're going to talk about the 2026 draft in terms of what the Saints are doing, looking for prospects at Texas Tech Pro Day. Now, listen, we talked about this before in terms of what the Saints need in terms of the interior of the Saints defensive line. We know we still have a few players there that we have to be really mindful of for the black and gold. Let's take a look at it right here, the unofficial depth chart showing that nose tackle Divine Gacho, Christian Boyd, they re-signed John Ridgway, who can kick inside as well, and then Brian Bursey, who's on the final year. You got an option that the Saints could pick up for next year. For $13 million, with its $12.99, might as well say $13 million. The Saints are probably going to decline that. That's coming up in May, so they'll have to work out an extension. So they're a little shaky at the interior position. Now we do have Vernon Brockton, who can kick inside, but Vernon Brockton is what we would call, he is pretty much an enigma. He got hurt last year. We don't know what he can be, but Brian Bursey is the most highly ranked option, I want to say, out of the three, because he's a former first-round draft pick, been with the team since 2023, 2.5 sacks last year. Not impressive stats. But Saints are not going to pay him $13 million in that option year coming up soon. So, the following year. So I say no. They'll probably decline that and work out an extension at point with Brian Bursey. We'll see how that all works and shakes, but the Saints are doing due diligence at the interior of the defensive line. They meet at multiple prospects at Texas Tech's Pro Day. Prospects to test in the home environment in front of scouts and coaches. One of the biggest on the calendar in 2026 was one held at Texas Tech, which is primarily the premier prospect of their Pro Day is David Bailey, being a player many scouts want to keep their eyes on, and if he can pan out at the NFL level. So he's a big one right there. And the Saints are looking at it. Among the teams in attendance, the Saints had a pretty substantial staff that showed up, including Kellen Moore went to see this kid, Jeff Ireland, and Coach Bo Davis, the defensive line coach, former New Orleans coach, now New York Jets coach Aaron Glenn, also popped up there. But the Saints had a contingent to watch the Red Raiders, right? So one of the biggest names on the Raiders roster, left tackle Lee Hunter. So Lee Hunter, he is a combine attendee, tested out about as well as one would expect for his size. His measurements were really improved, 6'3" and a half, over 300 pounds, almost 320 pounds. You can see his wingspan there, and really had great size for a defensive tackle or nose tackle, especially when factoring in the many combine arm measurements were being considered shorter than the reality. Now, Hunter had the opportunity to work alongside Saints defensive line coach Bo Davis, which is a great chance for them to see how things will work out if he were selected with the team. So you can see Glenn, he's there looking for the Jets, and you can see right here Coach Moore is there watching at the Red Rivers. That's him in I see Red Rivers at the Red Raiders, Texas Tech. You can see Coach Moore and you know who, Jeff Ireland. And that's a few of the guys right there looking at and checking out these attendees, these guys at this pro day. And what's really interesting is Saints had an opportunity to lay their hands on a bunch, like kind of just really look at a bunch of these guys, man, to kind of see who and what Texas Tech got a ton of talent here on both sides of the football. But we know the belle of the ball is David Bailey. The Saints had an opportunity to look at him as well, to see where he is. And like I said, he is and we'll break down the scouting reports on these players if you guys aren't familiar with who these men are going forward. But we'll deal with that momentarily. Let's get through the rest of this because I showed you some footage of him being there. And, of course, Coach Davis was able to work out a few of these guys. Let me see if I can pull up this footage right here so you guys can see for yourself that what was going on there. Shout out to Nick Harris, who had some of the footage, and you can see Bo Davis then working out Lee Hunter, and he's working him out at different, showing his power. And Lee Hunter's good. He's a big, massive, very violent defensive lineman, strong. And Coach Davis, man, you can see Coach Davis right here, watching him to see what he can do. And if you love Vernon Brockton, you're gonna love this defensive tackle as well, Lee Hunter. He's a guy that you're looking at, man. So regardless or not, Coach Bo Davis and Kellen Moore and Jeff Ireland down there looking, man, that's a positive, especially if David Bailey's there. I mean, you got to go and look, man. You got to go and check out, because that Bailey kid is awesome, man. But anyway, let's keep on going to the article right here on Lee Hunter, man, showing it's worth noting that the Saints met with wide receiver prospect Caleb Douglas at the pro day. Douglas tested out extremely well at the combine. He ran a 4.39 in the 40, being the headlining metric. Also, he was 6'3". He's 6'3". He's another fun option for the Saints to look into that class, especially when noting his 800 plus yard seasons at Texas Tech in 24 and 25, along with the combined 13 touchdowns. And you can see Aaron Wilson right here, his tweet showing that Texas Tech wide receiver Caleb Douglas to meet with hometown Texans, private workouts with Rams, Raiders, Saints, and Chargers. Private workouts there with the team. So all these players have a role regardless of how you look at them, but these prospects are very intriguing prospects, man, to be honest with you, and can help. Now let's start off with the most eye-catching or most the biggest of the bunch, so to speak, in terms of names and where this guy is going to actually land. This is his prospect NFL combine card for Mr. David Bailey. He's a 6'4", 251-pound edge rusher, and he's one of the guys that is gaining steam in the first round. I mean, this guy's, they have him in a lot of boards have David Bailey inside the top 10 now, and he's continued to skyrocket up boards. But this is who the Saints looked at, a potential new edge rusher for Coach Staley's defense. 4'5" in the 40, an edge rusher. You can see his broad jump, his vertical jump, his 10-yard split time. They see this guy as a bona fide first year one starter, and they go up to 8.0 in prospect grades. They got David Bailey at 6.78. Says a lot, right? Last year, first team AP Press All-American Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, finalist for the Lombardi Award, nation's top lineman, tied for the FBS lead with 14 and a half sacks. I'm going to say that again. He was tied with the FBS lead with 14 and a half sacks. He ranked second with the tackles for loss with 19 and a half. Played all 14 games, 13 starts, 3 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles. His brother is DJ. He played DE at Harvard. So a little background there, but this shows before he went to Texas Tech, he spent time with Stanford, where he's a freshman All-American, most outstanding freshman, played in 11 games. He had 2.5 sacks, a really respectful 2022 and 23, led the team with tackles for loss. He had 5 sacks, played in 10 games with 5 starts, 34 tackles in 24. He ranked 4th in FBS with 5 forced fumbles, led the team with tackles for loss and sacks, and played 12 games with 2 starts and 31 tackles and PBUs. So he is a phenomenal talent that really crystallified when he went to Texas Tech. This is the list on him by Lance Zierlein. Bailey's extremely hard for a lineman to stay in front of. He moves like a slashing 2-guard, blending explosiveness, fluidity to slip, bend, and flow around blocks from multiple angles. His leverage and lower body flexion create game over scenarios once he reaches pocket depth with even a minor lead. He can be stalled when a blocker latches his hands in deep, but Bailey's elusiveness and suddenness makes clean clamps a relative rarity. He's instinctive with natural mid-rush counters, but his most continued developing hand usage and crafting rush plans for when protecting shifts come his way. Teams can run at Bailey due to his lack of anchor and take on presence, but his work around quickness will also lead to tackles for loss. His draft grade is slightly tempered by a lack of desired size and length, but the explosiveness and athletic talent is elite. His sack production should carry over to the NFL as an odd front rush linebacker with Pro Bowl upside. His strengths, just a few of them, possesses rare short area twitch and react agility. Makes a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. Explosive takeoff leaves tackle little margin for error out of the stance. Widens rush attack on second step to create space at the corner. Builds speed and momentum as the rush ripens. Has the lean, bend, and cornering to shrink wrap the pocket. Natural rush instincts with quick reaction to blockers' pass sets. Stacks an outside counter on top of the speed to power charge. Fights through the redirect block to stay connected to his track. Able to flip hips and shoulders to play quickly around run blocks. Run well and squeezes pursuit angles wide. His weaknesses is finesse approach against the run due to lack of size and power. Can be caved in or torqued out by kickouts. Missing escapes strength once he's stuck on contact. Average recognition of screens and misdirections. Hand accuracy on swipes and chops is inconsistent. Will need to develop inside counters to exploit oversets, which he can do. Now, one of the AFC executives says best rusher in the draft, no doubt, but I worry about his size and toughness. If you are taking him high, you need to play him on all three downs. That's what the exec says. And like I said, will a player like this fit in Coach Staley's defense? Absolutely. You have a guy, a 6'4", 200, he's gonna get stronger. That's the NFL game. If you take David Bailey, and like I said, he'll be gone in the first round at some point. But the Saints are working on that big board. But you can't not discount him as one of the purest pass rushers in the draft, if not, bigger name players. But David Bailey is something else, man. He's explosive and phenomenal. Now, he's not complete, but you would have to get him stronger. You would have to work with him. And Bo Davis could work with David Bailey. And you need a pass rusher. If Cam does come back, regardless if Cam comes back or not, you're going to need another edge rusher to fire off for the future. With Carl Granderson, in a couple of years, Carl Granderson's contract is going to be up. And David Bailey and Chase Young, who just signed a massive deal, not too long ago. David Bailey, a pure pass rusher there, and you can work with this guy. Of course, you have to pick up some weight. You'll have to get stronger to deal with the rush. But Bailey's is phenomenal, man. He's a phenomenal guy. So anyway, let's keep it moving. Other targets the Saints looked at as well. We talked about Lee Hunter. We mentioned some of his stuff. Here's his scouting combine record as well. 6'2", is his prospect grade, will eventually be an average starter, they say. 6'3.5", 318 pounds. Some have him at 325. But you've seen that he can move. He's from Mobile, Alabama. Shout out to Mobile, Alabama. But Big Lee Hunter is no slouch, man. You can see a 5'18" and a 40. That's not bad. They didn't show his bench press here, but he came from Auburn, went to Central Florida, and that's where. And like I said, man, this guy is awesome, man. So played 13 games as a reserve back in 2022. 23 honorable mention All Big 12 Conference. Started 13 games, had 69 tackles, 11 of them for tackles for loss and 3 sacks in the pass breakup. Very active big guy, not just a big lumbering guy. Second team All Big 12, tied for the team lead with 9.5 tackles for loss. So he gets back there. Played all 12 games with 10 starts, 45 tackles, 1 sack. Very productive. And then, of course, last season, you've seen what he did. Third team Associated Press All-American. He kind of moved over to Texas Tech. First team All Big 12. Started 14 games, had 41 tackles, 11 tackles for loss and 2.5 sacks and a forced fumble. So if anything, if you watch the footage on Lee Hunter, you show not only a big guy that can clunk it up for you, gunk it up for you in the middle, but he's also a guy that gets pressure. And that makes life better, period. When you can get edge pressure, but when you have interior defensive tackles that can put pressure on a quarterback from it. It's nowhere to go. If you got big guys that can generate pressure internally, it flushes quarterbacks out to the edges. So it's another way of pass rushing. So if you can find big guys that are violent, that are severely disruptive, they can get doubled down regardless. They providing pressure and sucking up double teams to free open one-on-ones and all this kind of stuff. You can't block everybody, sort of thing. If you have guys like Lee Hunter there, man, that would do you well. The overview, according to the scouts, is Hunter is a two gaping nose tackle for odd or even fronts. He has the size, strength, and length to do battle in the heart of the trenches, but requires better block take-on technique to sit firmer in the grass. He won't win in the gaps, but he can stack and shed single blocks or slide and stabilize his run fit against zone blocks. His girth and length are advantages when aligning him over the center as a run defender. He doesn't have enough quickness or skill as a rusher to see many passing downs, but he can dent the pocket with his power. Hunter projects as an early down space eater who can make interior offensive linemen work for their gaps. Broad chest, 6'9" wingspan. That's crazy. I mean, he batting balls down at the line of scrimmage. Fire off snaps with low pads and into leverage contact. Displays adequate balance and recovery through double teams, right? Powering through. Slides with lateral blocks and can make a stand on the move. Changes directions pretty well in small spaces. Twitchy upper body creates violent shed against centers. Dominate as a bull rusher at the Senior Bowl. And Saints always love these Senior Bowl guys. His weakness, too relying on size over technique. They'll work on that lax feel and efficiency in taking down blocks. They'll work on that limited early down. Two gap and schemes, lacks initial quickness to create early win as a rusher. But nonetheless, regardless of that, comment by the scout, you watch his statistics and tackles for loss, and it's showing he's always back there. He got a high stat in getting into or around in the back of that offensive line. That's what he does. Gets back there, makes plays, tackles for loss on whether, on running backs and all this. So he's penetrating the offensive line and getting back there as well as stopping the run. So Lee Hunter could be a guy. He'll get stronger. You can see him go up to like 325, 330 pounds. I had some scouting reports say he had 325 now. So, Lee Hunter is a big get if you're the Saints, and that could really be something in the future the Saints could be looking at. Pass rusher, D tackle, and of course another position is the wide receiver. How about wide receiver? Caleb Douglas, 6'3.5", 206 pounds for him. Look at them arms, 33.5. His hands, big hands, and everything. You can see the card right here speaks about Mr. Douglas, at average backup or a special teamer. But the guy has good production. This is a solid wide receiver. 4.39 in the 40 for a 6'3.5" wide receiver. That sounds like what the Saints are looking for. The vertical jump is off the chain. The broad jump is off the chain. Very nice times there. And of course, you look at where he came from. He was with Florida for the first couple of years in college, played 8 games, had 10 catches with them. Not too much to talk about in his freshman year. In 2023, played in 5 games. You can see he missed the rest of the season due to a leg injury. In 24, he played 13 games, had 60 catches, almost 900 yards. He averaged over 14 yards per catch and had 6 touchdowns. So when he was healthy and they gave him the reps, he produced. Then last year, he was second team All Big 12 Conference. He led the team with 846 receiving yards. He caught 54 catches, 846 yards. He averaged almost 16 yards a catch because he gets deep, 7 receiving touchdowns, and played all 14 games, right? Then they talk about his father, Cedric, played at QB at Vanderbilt and Texas Southern. So he got an athlete in his family, obviously. The overview on Douglas is long, slender, outside target with good production, but uneven tape. He has enticing moments showcasing his catch radius, ball skills on fades and deep throws. Douglas' focus drops and inability to win contested catches at high enough rate can be overlooked, because I've seen film where he does make the contested catch, right? But the upside is more so than a downside. It's what it is. But he got top end speed. It shows quick acceleration for a tall receiver, but his top end speed relatively non-threatening to defenses. Douglas can expect to be crowded by NFL cornerbacks and force him to prove he can cover. There are flashes to build on, but he'll have to battle to make a roster as a backup. And that's what the Saints will see him as. But if you're a good wide receiver coach, you can't teach size, you can't teach speed, and a few things here or there to kind of clean up his game would work for you. He's tall and long, 79-inch wingspan. How about that? Shows an ability to play through early route contact, which means he has toughness. Smooth and natural when playing the fade and deep balls. Makes good use of his catch radius on wide, high throws. Able to pluck and hide the ball from defenders. Displayed willingness to help near the line as a run blocker. And his weakness, average salesmanship, meaning he has to work on his route tree, right? Developing the route tree. Drive phase might lack credibility against the NFL coverage, which means he has to get tougher to kind of battle his way through to get to where he need to be in his route. Take time to gather and open on comebacks. Had too many focus drops. That's something that we have to focus on, as we have to fix, because a big talented wide receiver, he got to do better there. And we had a wide receiver, actually a tight end, we had some focus drops, but locked on in. So the wide receiver coach can work with this guy. There's plenty of talent there, so it's just his technique, working on his route tree, getting him to be more of a professional wide receiver. But the talent is there with Caleb Douglas, regardless of how you cut it. 6'3.5", 200, almost 210 pounds, running a 4.39 in the 40. Good production in the 2 years that he played. And with the right coach, you can fix some of this stuff. This guy can really improve and help your wide receiver room. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's take a look at that, by the way. You see all your wide receivers: Chris Olave, Devon Valley, Mason Tipton, Bub Means, Kevin Austin Jr., Trey Palmer, Jalen Polk, Ronnie Bell, Samari Toure, Elijah Cooks, and Damian Alford is the wide receivers. 3, 6, 9, 11. Saints still looking at wide receivers, because at any given time, some of these lesser known guys can, and like I said, it's about keeping an open mind going forward and looking at, picking up talent here, man. That's the major thing. And adding to it, the Saints have 5 picks in the first 4 rounds, 8 picks total, and they'll be looking at adding really good talent to this team, whether it's in the defensive line, the wide receiver room, whether it's on the offensive line, whether it's the DB or linebacker. The Saints are going to be looking to add talent here to bring in competition, to improve the team overall. And they had a stellar draft last year, and I'm expecting them to have a stellar draft this year. So Saints, man, doing their due diligence, family, looking at multiple people at the Texas Tech Pro Day. And that's what I got for y'all. But anyway, y'all let me know, who do you like from Texas Tech of any of these prospects? What are your thoughts on some of these players here? And do you think the Saints should take a couple of these guys? And where should they take them at? Y'all let me know in the chat about what you think about some of this stuff. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. Shout out to FanDuel. Y'all get y'all prop bets in at FanDuel as well. And big ups to the Great Saint Think Tank, the supporters of the show, our YouTube and Patreon champions. We appreciate you guys, because without your support, none of this will be possible. With that being said, that's all I got for you. I'm going to flip back and holler at you on another report. Much love, peace, and who that take?
Say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who?
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thewhodatdaily.com, your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thewhodatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation. Stay in the NO, you stay in the know.